You know what I should have busted out? Everybody's favorite song. And every time we touch, I get the feeling. And every time.
Just get us completely copyrighted off of the internet.
No, I didn't play it. I was singing it. That's an interpolation.
Yes.
That's interpolation.
Yes. All right.
Guys, everybody tweet out that we're live.
Yeah.
I'm tweeting it out right now.
I got to do that too.
We're tweeting it out.
I'm just going to apologize to Zion because I'm pretty sure this went live on his Twitter account, but it's just going to be like a terrible caption.
It says Duke versus Baylor. I see it.
Yep. Sorry.
It works.
That's what it's going to be for now. All right. Click on it.
God. Oh man, the Ryan Young discourse is going to be at an all-time peak tonight. It's going to be at a peak tonight. Where are my comments, Ryan? Are they coming in
yet?
Turn them on. Why don't I see them? I see nothing.
Do you want me to put them on the screen?
Well, I just want them. Now I'm starting to see them show up. Here we go. Okay, I just couldn't see them on my little sidebar here.
Okay.
This is my favorite part of the show because it's really boring for everybody who's watching this on YouTube. But if you listen on the podcast, I edit all of this out. It goes straight to the theme song.
I love it,
and it's great, and it's perfect. Because we're professionals.
Yeah, and like we get to watch us look at our phones and tweet this out and everything. It's just super boring.
Doster. I'm retweeting what Doster just tweeted.
What Doster?
Jeremy Roach in the last 6 games, 19.3 points per game, 3.7 assists per game, 12 for 20 from 3. The man is hooping.
I bet on tonight over 15.5 points. He came through in the second half big time.
There you go.
Anyways, all right. I can probably we gotta get through some of these comments here.
Look at that. CBB Analytics. I'm gonna just say we're gonna talk.
I don't think I have our intro. That might be.
No, do we not have the intro?
Basically, we just need you to say beast mode. Oh, hold on. Nope, I got it.
Let's go. Hit it.
Oh man. Oh, here we go.
The old man
trying not to score and everything. We hit about 33s or something.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of felt that. We kind of feed off that energy.
This place is amazing. Like I really love Duke, and I love the atmosphere I'm in here.
Mark Williams, beast mode. Paolo first half, he had the cramping stuff. Fair enough. Beast mode.
Beast mode.
I was gonna say if I couldn't find that intro, I was just gonna have you just yell beast mode like 4 times.
Beast mode. Beast mode. Jeremy Roach. Beast mode. Whoa!
Oh, hold on, Zion, real quick. Go on mute. Let me run an intro quick. All right, everybody, welcome back to Crazy Cast. Duke knocks off Baylor 78-70. Number 10 Baylor at Madison Square Garden. Huge W, biggest W of the season. I said it on a different podcast. I thought it was as close to a must-win game as we possibly could get in non-conference play. They did it. Great game from them. Z, let's hear your thoughts, man. Walking fresh out of the garden.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can. It sounds like New York, but we can hear you.
Hey, so I'll join later. I'll be back later. But good win, man. Good win. I'm very proud of Ryan Young. I know the Ryan Young love is beaming up in the chat. Can't see the chat. Solid to Jeremy Roach, man. Jeremy Roach, this is his team. I'll be back later, though. No, Duke. Good win.
All right, appreciate you, man. That was like the epitome of like walking through New York trying to do a show where it just sounded muffled. You could see like the skyline. Yeah, that was perfect. All right, Russ,
ambient noise. A bunch of bullshit ambient noise in the background there.
Exactly. All right, you kick this off while I throw some comments up.
Boy, I mean, great, huge win. Huge win. I'll admit, I didn't think we were going to win without Proctor. I just didn't think it was going to happen. I thought Jacoby Walter was going to go ballistic. He's a 6'5", two-way player. We don't have a 6'5" guy other than Proctor, really. who can defend like that. Foster did a pretty admirable job on defense today. I mean, the guards still have some issues here and there, but overall they applied a lot of pressure today. I thought it was really good, one or two spurts notwithstanding. Really, really good. I mean, we can get to the Ryan Young stuff. Look, what's going to be so funny is, and I was saying this beforehand, the discourse is going to be insane because in the first 4 minutes, Ryan Young put up a -8. Like in the first 4 minutes he played, he put up a -8. He was a complete liability in those first 4 minutes. There's no, the offense when he's out there is all compact because they're not even pretending to guard him. On defense, people were driving right at him because he's not a rim protector, right? So he was a complete liability. So then what happens the third time he comes in? I'm a little upset on Twitter.com, X.com, according to 2 people. And I said, we need a better plan than just run the exact same thing with Ryan Young because Ryan Young is not the same guy as Flip. He's just not. And that's okay. I was looking just for a little more creativity from the staff in terms of, well, what are we going to do when he's out there? And you got to give him credit, man, on that third one. I think those first two, when he came out, I was going to tweet out something along the lines of Ryan's just getting in cardio. Those first 4 minutes he played, it was cardio. But then after that, he was warm. He was ready. He made some huge box outs, huge offensive plays, smart passes, hustled. He did the Ryan Young shit. He does what Ryan Young does. And I think he ended with a net positive. I think, which when you start the game -8 in 4 minutes, it is insane that in 4 more minutes of play that you get to a net positive. That is absolutely bonkers. And it shows you the yin and the yang of Ryan Young, the young yin and yang, right? You have these really brutal stretches where the limitations are obvious, and more specifically than the limitations being obvious, how it impacts our offense and defense is obvious. We're just better when Flip's on the floor. We just are, always. And then we got the yang, we got the good stuff, right? We get the hustle, we get the smart play. Clearly the reasons why Shire throws him out there, right? Everybody on Twitter is screaming for Sean Stewart all game.
I was close.
Shire clearly doesn't trust him right now. He's in the doghouse. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people were asking me what's going on. I don't know. I'd love to see some Sean Stewart minutes. I would. But I tell you what, the pass out to Jared McCain, those two box outs where it was all position. It was not at all athleticism or anything else. It was all just grit, determination, and positioning. That's Ryan Young. Right? That's what he does. That's podcast boy, right? That's what podcast boy, podcast man brings to the table. So I still don't, despite that last stretch, I still would love to see the team find some creative stuff to do when Flip's not out there. It doesn't have to be Stewart. It doesn't even have to be Young. I think they're interesting. Maybe Mark Mitchell at the 5 lineups you could run. There's stuff you could do, or just make the offense look a little different. Try to mitigate the fact that there's way less spacing when you're playing Mark Mitchell and Ryan Young. There's no spacing when you're playing the two of them. So what did we do? We just had Jeremy Roach, and now we get to the other thing. Jeremy Roach and Caleb Foster, and even Jared McCain, but Roach and Foster downhill more than them, just made things happen today. I mean, they just made things happen. I thought they were moving the screens up higher past the key to create even more space when people were guarding the screener. I thought that was smart. And then Roach is just on such a cosmic tear right now. I mean, Roach is absolutely on one. And I would love to see it continue. I mean, this is why he came back, right? This is why it's good to have him back, is exactly for this reason,
Yeah.
For big games like this. And he was so huge today. Massive win.
Yeah, it was a great game, man. I think obviously the recency bias of the game just ending and when Ryan Young's minutes were great, were a lot of fun. But I think you kind of brought up a little bit the freshman guards, man. McCain and Foster really came to play tonight, kind of shouldered that burden of not having Proctor, which was sorely missed. And I'm very interested to see how they get him back and how the rotations and the offense looks with that. But Man, McCain dropping 21, I believe is what he ended with. Shot really well. They were running sets for him a lot in the first half. It looked really efficient. It looked awesome. Yeah.
And we talked about that on this
been
show.
asking for that for a while.
Yeah.
But and then Foster, when Foster gets downhill, man, he's one of the best. He's one of the best guards that this probably in the ACC in general when it comes to getting downhill. We'll see come into conference play, but I'm not going to say in the country. But like when he gets downhill, man, he's dangerous. You saw it multiple times, fast break wise, and then when down the stretch there in the half court offense, he just drove to the lane and was very, very efficient there as well. So that's awesome to see. And then I got to apologize to Jeremy Roach, man. I was wrong. I was wrong. I said at the beginning of the season, I tried to make a hot take by saying that I'm not sure he would be in my starting lineup. And I think he scored over like 16 points in the last 4, 5, 6 games, something like that. So shout out to Jeremy Roach, just being the captain that we needed him to be, especially with Tyrese Proctor going down. Defensively, he hasn't looked as bad, but just offensively coming up clutch and making some big plays late in the game is what we needed. And so there's my official apology to Jeremy Roach. Thank you for your service to this team and this squad. The emotion that Roach was showing was vintage Roach as well. So that was cool to see. And let's just hope it can continue, because if Roach is playing the way he does, even when Proctor comes back, then this team becomes even more dangerous. So very excited about it. The one thing I saw a question, if we want to get into a question already, I think it's a great one to ask. Who is this team's best player, Russ?
Flip. Easy. Next. I mean, like that's not a hard question at
Okay,
all.
who's this? Okay, yeah. I still think you're gonna say no question, but who's this team's most important player?
Even
Probably,
more
yeah,
obvious
more important
Flip.
Flip.
Even more obviously Flip. Like
Yeah.
the people who like, look, Roach has been massive for the offense. I think there's no question, right? Like you can't deny the degree to which he's been huge, but like the on-off numbers don't lie. Like Flip in terms of plus minus, according to CBB Analytics, who's a sponsor, I'll do a sponsor read later. He's plus 125 in the season. That's 98th percentile in the country. That's double the next player on Duke, right? Double the next player. His net rating, we are 19.7 points per 100 possessions better when he is on the floor. That's 87th percentile in the country. That's before today's game, by the way. Like those numbers will improve. Our offense is 11 points per 100 possessions better when he's on the floor. And our defense is almost 9 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. I mean, we've seen over and over again, when he goes out, it gets dicey. It gets dicey very quickly. Roach is a monster. Don't get me wrong. Like Roach's offense is the second most important on the team by a good margin. His defense still a net negative according to the numbers. He did play very well today. So maybe those numbers will improve. But yeah, Flip. Like, because Roach, if Roach goes out, you still have Foster, you still have McCain. When Proctor's healthy, you have Proctor. When Flip is out, you have nobody. Like, you have Ryan Young for a few minutes here and there. Sean Stewart, if they ever play him. Christian Reeves, if he's healthy. But, like, none of those options are Flip. None of them are Flip.
Don't say Reeves.
No, none of those options are Flip at all. You know, by the way, everybody who is listening to this on Twitter, go to YouTube. Go to the link, watch us on YouTube, leave comments. Like you can't leave comments when you're watching on Twitter. Go to YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Right? I see a lot of people watching on Twitter right now. And thank you for watching, you know. But I also want to hear from a lot of you guys. We love having the comments. And I know the number right now on Twitter is really high. Number on YouTube, less so. Head over to YouTube. We would love that. And like I said, hit that subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Comment how smart and attractive we are. Do all of those things. And while you're doing that, Ryan, because I just did a CBB Analytics stat, let me do a little ad read, if you do not mind.
Yeah, get it in, man.
Because, man, I just cited CBB Analytics. Look, it's my favorite site to break down stats. You can tell now on this show. I cite it all the time. There's so many different splits, last 5 games, last 10 games, home and away. Color-coded percentiles make it super easy to understand what the numbers are saying. You see people post on the shot charts. Jesus. Learn how to speak when you're doing an ad read, Russell. You've seen people on Twitter posting the shot charts. They're the best shot charts available. They have on-off stats, as I've already cited, light-up combination stats. It's an insane amount of info. Any serious fan should subscribe to CBB Analytics. We have a discount code CRAZIE, CRAZIE. When users sign up, you get $40 off. Once again, the code is CRAZIE, CRAZIE. And I should also point out, if you go to home field and use CRAZIE, you might get a little sweetener there too. But CBB Analytics, man, they're awesome. I want to cite something that's very, very interesting that I think might lead to some interesting conversation that I got from CBB Analytics that I've talked about a little on Twitter already. And it's about our rebounding, specifically our non-flip rebounding. Like, we are a very, very good rebounding team, generally speaking, when flip is on the floor. In fact, we're an elite defensive rebounding unit. And we've seen that. That's borne out over the course of the season. But we saw a number of times today when flip went to protect the rim, which is what he's supposed to do, it left the weak side open. And then they got a number of second chance opportunities. I don't know how many. I was keeping track at one point. I will find out very quickly. Second chance points, 15. I think in the first half it was 11. So we clearly did better in the second half. And here are some interesting numbers, okay? So on the season, when Mark Mitchell is out, when Mark Mitchell is not on the floor, Duke is 12.5% better in terms of their offensive rebounding rate when he is out. And we are 3.6% better defensive rebounding rate when Mark Mitchell is out. And even in the last 5 games where Mitchell has been playing clearly better, Duke is 5.8% better on the offensive glass when Mitchell's out, 10.6% better on the defensive glass when Mitchell is out. For whatever reason, we are not rebounding nearly as well when Mark Mitchell is on the floor. Meanwhile, Caleb Foster, whose numbers don't pop on the rebounding side, right? They don't. Duke is 9.1% better on the offensive glass when Caleb Foster is on the floor, and we are 6.3% better on the defensive glass when Caleb Foster is on the floor. And those percentiles, I had them up at one point. They're high. I mean, for the full season, Caleb Foster, 95%. I think those numbers were right, weren't they? Maybe it includes Baylor now. My numbers might have changed. Anyway, it's really, really good is my point. Or maybe those were last 5 games that I just read. Those are last 5 games of Caleb Foster, which again makes sense because that's when Caleb has been playing a lot more. And 94th percentile impact player on the offensive rebounding glass, 86th percentile on the defensive glass. Insane, right?
Yeah, wow.
So the question becomes, like, what is Duke going to do, as we saw today during that Messi run, when Flip is off the floor, and B, even when Flip is on the floor, Roach, McCain, and Foster they're not stoppers. They're good at applying pressure, right? But a lot of times players are getting by, and we're used to that with Mark Williams and Derek Lively, right? Yeah. We let the players drive in. The big guy stops him, right? Yeah. Flip's trying, and Flip's done pretty well. I think at the half, I tweeted Baylor was shooting like 36% from 2. That's really good. Like, they shoot like 54% from 2 on the season. That's very, very good, right? So then what do we do when Flip is contesting or when Flip is out on the weak side? We've got to who's our second best rebounder, right? Yeah. Who's our weak side rebounder? I think it's supposed to be Mark. Mark was a good rebounder last season.
Yeah.
This season, the impact's not there. The guards have had to pick up a lot more of the slack. We've seen Foster. I know McCain had a double-digit rebound game at some point this season. Yeah. I thought Roach was sort of in a lot of very savvy spots tonight. I don't know what he ended up with. Only 3 rebounds, but he got at least one really crucial one. I think when we play bigger teams, we have to solve this problem. And I don't think the answer is just play Flip and Young together.
No,
so I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. But I do think your point is valid. And I don't know how many teams in the ACC are going to be able to whip out guys like that. And especially come March, like if there's a lot of March will be the interesting dynamic to that because of you get more athletic teams there. But the Mark Mitchell not being a good rebounder this season is quite weird, especially for a guy who spends a lot of time around that area. I think at that point, it's just like you have to trust Mark. Mark just has to play better. And I think Mark has to play better in a lot of areas right now. That's just one of them. Watching teams sit back basically in the paint while he has the ball in the perimeter is quite concerning. It's valid. It's warranted. He can't hit a shot from the outside right now. but it really does disrupt the offense as well. So I think Mark needs to do a lot of stuff better than what he's doing right now. And on the glass is one of them. Somebody who's as physical as he is and has the bounce that he does. There's no reason why he shouldn't be a rebounding contributor like we expected him to be. So sweet. Any other CBB Analytics stats? Or are we good to keep moving?
Well, I almost spilled beer on my home field hoodie, which would have been really tragic. I mean, this is a Garnet Lager. This is a dark beer. That's not what you want on a light hoodie. No, I'm sure I'll cite some other CBB Analytics throughout. The Sean Stewart thing is very interesting, as the comment that you just posted said. I would love to see people's thoughts in the YouTube comments. By the way, since I said that, a bunch of people migrated over to YouTube. I love that. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube so you can leave some comments.
Yes, please. Yeah, I think real quick on the Sean Stewart thing, I think the one thing that's frustrating for me, especially when Ryan Young was not playing as well as he was in the last 4 minutes. Great, fine with that. Like, that's probably going to, I don't want to say unfortunately, but that's going to get him more of those minutes going forward. When it comes to athletic teams like Baylor, I just don't see what the point is in not trying Stewart for a little bit. Like, and when we've watched him play, it's not like he's been phenomenal, but it's not like he's been very, very bad either. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, get this guy out of here. He's ruining it on both sides of the ball. Like, I think, and tonight I think Power got in for like a minute, but otherwise we had a 7-man rotation. That's all it ended up being. And for now, that's fine because Proctor's going to come back and it makes it 8. So it's not super concerning depth-wise. I'm a big fan of in early season games to get younger guys who you think are going to be around on your roster for a couple years, to get them in now and get them this experience. And I think tonight would have been a perfect night for it. It worked out in the end. Young played really well. I get that. I want to see a little bit more. I don't think he's hurt, but maybe just not getting the effort out of practice or whatever it may be. But he's just so athletic and bouncy that he can play and guard all positions. It just seemed like a perfect game for him to play, and we just didn't see him.
My boy Jim Roots from 3-Man Weave, I was tweeting or I was texting with him earlier. Shout out to Jim. And we were talking about Sean Stewart a little bit, and I was like, man, we're just not playing him much. And Jim was like, one would have really been good to play him would have been against LaSalle or Bucknell or Southern Indiana, or like any of these games where we just kind of farted around for a half plus. And then by the time the second half came around, the minutes are so limited. Yeah. It says he seems to have a positive impact while on the floor. He definitely has a positive defensive impact. I don't have the off. He's also just played so little that the on-off stats aren't going to say a lot. Right. I mean, like, he's played 75 minutes, but like his impact on offense is not positive right now, in those 75 minutes. It is on defense, but yeah, that's I think, and that's got to be the issue, right? Like, he sort of does have that like baby giraffe energy out there where like you can tell he's super good, but he's not quite like putting it all together yet. He's young. He'll figure it out. I'm a big believer, but to your point, Ryan, like especially in games where we're blowing teams out or up by 15 or whatever, like, you gotta play.
And to address this comment, like Lively was slated to get the 15 to 25 minutes a night prior to the season. And he was 7 foot tall. Like, we needed a rim protector. It's a little bit different situation.
Also, Lively was like one of the top recruits in the country, right? Like,
yeah, there's a little bit different pedigree coming in, and Stewart was too. It's different class and everything. But Lively was also hurt, and like he was going to get those minutes regardless. I think it's quite a bit different of a situation. I love the optimism, Jonathan. I hope you're right, but I think at this point, it's not likely that he's going to get the minutes Lively did coming off of that injury. One other comment that I saw that I think is valid. That is, as I say former basketball. I played high school basketball. It's a little different.
Who was the ESPN guy once that like brought up that he played basketball and then he got cooked because he played like 3 minutes a game for a community college?
Was that Skip Bayless?
It might have been Skip. I don't remember.
No, but as far as like just like I played sports in my day, and if I'm doing something poorly, I'm going to work on it a lot, and I'm going to make adjustments. And I'm not. It is what it is, but like the fact that Mitchell's shot is still like a complete line drive to me, and it's not arcing any more than it did last year or at the beginning of this or to start this season is like mind-boggling. Like, so I don't know if the staff is just like do what you got to do, and the end. If you make it in the NBA, they'll fix it, or like what's going on. But like they need to have one of those shooting things with the nets on them. They have to shoot over those to make it in. Like, I forget what those are called, but the shooting assist things. There's no reason why his shot should look this flat this far into the season when teams are literally sagging into the paint on him, which causes so many other issues. I can't fathom the fact that at least the arc hasn't changed at all. I don't care if they're falling, but if the arc is still a line drive, it to me is mind-boggling.
Yeah. And you're right, sarcastic intent. Jalen Rose said it to Skip. Heartbreaking. The worst person in the world just made an excellent point, By the way, there's 38 thumbs ups on here. Look at these handsome devils. There's 38 thumbs ups, but 145 of you watching. Hit that thumbs up, boy. What are you doing?
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Real quick, but I don't.
But
I don't
what you were saying, like, it's in his head.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the yips. Clearly, he's in his head. I liked today. People were really mad that he shot those 2 shots today. I liked that he shot them because he has to shoot them. Like, unfortunately, like, we're gonna see 2 to 3 ugly Mark Mitchell shots a game. But if he doesn't shoot them, then he'll never make them, and the spacing will never improve.
Exactly.
So he's got to shoot his way out of this to some extent.
It can't get worse, right? They're already sagging off into the paint. It can't get worse.
Any worse. Yeah. He has to shoot open threes. I think a lot of it's in his head. The hitch is really bad. It's worse than it was last year.
Yeah.
He's making his free throws. I mean, like, I forget. I don't have the numbers. I minimized it. But his numbers from the free throw line, I think, are pretty good on the season. I'm pulling them up.
Okay.
I mean, 70%. It could be better. It might be up after today a little bit. But like, if you're shooting 70% from the free throw line, you're not a shooter that's like shooting 7. He's shooting less than 6% from 3 right now. Like, he's got to shoot his way out of it. It's the Jack White thing. I think it's in his head. I think it's just in his head straight up.
Yeah.
Also, you can't change your stroke in the middle of the season like this.
You don't need to change your stroke. Just pop it up more. Like, you just have. That's
a big change, dude. That's a big change. He's been a line drive shooter forever. Like, you're basically saying, all right, how you've been shooting forever, just do it a little different. But that's a change. That's a notable change.
It is, but in the form, I don't think it's as much change as like where he's. I think it's just a higher release point at that point. And yeah, it's a change. Sure, anything's gonna be a change at this point, but like, it's not working. So I'm sorry. A change is necessary. All right.
I mean, I agree. A change is necessary. Maybe over the break, right after the Queens, or like during this 2-week stretch or whatever, when all we've got is Queens.
Yeah.
Maybe he can put up some threes, but like, I'm not expecting the threes to fall this year from Mark. I'm not expecting, I hate to say it, I'm obviously not expecting him to go pro at the end of the year. I mean, I don't know what he does to change it, other than like, he can be the guy who fights with energy. Whenever we see the dunking, it's great. When he's hustling down low, when he's fighting, when he's playing physical, he is making a positive impact now on the defensive end. He wasn't earlier. That's great. But at least Jack White's looked good.
Yeah.
Mark
should just go home over winter break, go to a double rim at his local park, and just shoot all day until he's not missing and give it a go. I
think it's in here. Like, it might be like, I forget who it was, whether it was Dwight or Shaq, or it was one of the big guys. I think it was Dwight, where they said, oh, in practice, he makes like 90% of them or whatever. But then when you're in the game and he's shooting free throws, like, he's remembering all the free throws that he's missed, and it's messing with him.
And it only takes one miss to have that continue throughout the game as well.
So he's got to keep shooting. The last couple of games, he would have wide open shots and then like hold it and be like, what do I do here? At least today, the 2 shots he took, they were in rhythm. He caught the ball. He didn't hesitate. He shot. Neither of them were very close, but that's what he needs to do. He can't be sitting and thinking, do I shoot now? He has to try it.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So the team, since Proctor's gone out, I believe are undefeated, obviously playing some lesser competition. I would give,
he basically did not play the Georgia Tech game at all.
Yeah.
So I mean,
True.
you could say we're not undefeated in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. But we'll take it after his injury, undefeated. 3-0, I believe, is what it is. Incorporating him back into this thing with Roach playing as well as he has, and Roach, I feel like, has primarily been the on the ball guy. I'm not saying we should keep it that way, but I'm just curious as to how the staff's going to do this, because it's not like we're playing it unbelievable and it's like, what's the term you use? Addition by subtraction or whatever. Like I don't buy that at all when it comes to Proctor. We want him back. We're gonna be better with him back. Just curious as to how things are going to go and what the staff is going to do when he does come back, because I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. It looks like at this point.
Well, I still think that Jeremy does a lot of his best work as the secondary option. We saw Caleb running the point a lot tonight. You know, and then once the action is going, and we needed an ISO, we'd get it to Jeremy, and then he makes his magic happen.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Which is wild. It definitely helps that Roach and Flip have pretty good chemistry at this point.
Yeah.
And especially when Flip is out there, the floor is just so spaced. I mean, like Misi was having to guard him past the 3-point line on those screens, and then Roach just had a clear lane. And like, if there's one thing that Roach has been good at, is if you give him the space, he will finish. He will make it. If it's crowded, it's harder, but that's also true for everybody. But yeah, as Will says, Foster's been the one with the ball, generally speaking. I don't know. I think that you have to put him back in. I think you have to put him back in. The way Foster's been playing, though, like it's hard to decide who to bench if it's not Mitchell. And like Mitchell is still really good and important for a lot of things in terms of size and position that we have. I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, like Monty says, 4-guard lineup. You might consider it.
At some point, I don't know if it can be your primary, like getting the most minute rotation or lineup that you have out there. But like at this point, that's 4 guys that pull everybody out of the paint, right? Like if you play, what do they be 4 out? Then Flip runs the post and the baseline or runs the pick and rolls and does some pin downs for the shooters. I just think it could be really good defensively. It might burn us a little bit with some bigger team or with some bigger post players, but I just don't see why that's not something you at least run out there for a few minutes every game just to see if it works and at least make the defense respect your shooting, respect your perimeter play. It just gives you a lot more to work with than I think what you have with Mitchell on offense, but then you lose him on defense as well.
Do you know how many possessions we've run with the 4-guard lineup and Flip?
Like 2, 3?
9.
9, yeah.
3 minutes.
I remember like clamoring for it earlier in the season, and then we finally did it, and it was like, yay, we did it, and then we just never saw it again. So
I mean, for those 9 possessions in those 3 minutes, it yielded very nice results.
Who was it against?
I don't even know. I'm on CBB Analytics, which
Okay.
is a great website. Code CRAZIE, CRAZIE. By the way, I saw we bumped up thumbs ups here on YouTube, which is great, but we still have way more people watching than thumbs up. So please hit that thumbs up.
Yeah.
And if you're on Twitter, come on over, to quote Christina Aguilera.
Okay, one thing I tease on Twitter is talking about ACC play. What are our expectations going forward with this? I know we have a game against Queens after the break, which is interesting, but for the first game of ACC play, we take Syracuse on at home. Your boy's going to be there. First time back at Cameron in like 13 years. I'm super excited about it. If anybody's going to be there at the Syracuse game, hit me up. I'll say hi and whatnot, whatever. But looking forward to that. Going on there with my wife. It'll be fun. Little Christmas gift. But what do we expect going into ACC play, and what's your ACC record prediction? If you can pull up the schedule, we should probably.
By the way, we could definitely play 4 guards against Syracuse.
Oh, absolutely.
That's definitely one where we could try.
But anyways, what do you want to see going into ACC play? What kind of record are you looking at to get us to the seed we need? Because I think, like, outside of running the table the rest of the year, like a top 2 seed is going to be pretty tough to come by. With the resume we built in non-conference. So yeah, expectations going in and what your record prediction is.
Well, the non-conference isn't the problem. The problem is the Georgia Tech loss. That's the problem. That's a Q3 loss. That's probably going to stay a Q3 loss unless they really figure some shit out. I mean, they're 160th in net.
Wow.
So
real quick, everybody watching on YouTube, give me your ACC placement prediction and record if you want. But where do you think Duke places
Yeah.
in the ACC? First, second, third, we winning it all? What are we doing? Give me your
Yeah.
thoughts.
So to answer your question in a roundabout way with something else that I wanted to talk about also, I think there's a good time to sort of piggyback your question here. Duke really, really needed this win today. If we don't have this win, our out of conference schedule is we're 1-2 against Q1 with a Q2 loss at Arkansas.
Yep.
But with the Baylor win, we're 2-1 and Baylor is a top 16, 17 net team. So that's huge to have that. That's definitely going to stay.
And they're in a good
if it doesn't
conference where
stay.
they'll be playing good games all the time. So
Yeah, and it helps everything else too, because like Georgia Tech's net will improve based on the fact that like our net will improve from having beaten a good team. The problem once you get into the ACC, I tweeted out the numbers earlier today. I forget what they'll end up being. They're obviously going to change, but when I tweeted it out, the ACC is like 9-26 against Q1 teams and something like 11-7 against Q2 teams. They have like 9 Q3 losses, 5 Q4 losses. It's an embarrassment. There are just as many Q3 losses as there are there's just many teams with Q3 losses as there are teams with Q1 wins. That's not good. Now, some of them are the same, like us, but that's still really bad. And then once you're in conference play, then it's hard to make the net go up too much because you're just beating other teams that have a low net. There's only 2 top 25 teams in the ACC in the net right now. We're one of them, and we were at 25 in this game. There's 5 top 40 teams, but again, I don't think Pitt will stay there. You're looking at 4 top 40 teams, right? So we're not going to have a lot of opportunities in conference play. So us winning this game will help make the teams that do beat us, because we'll lose a couple of teams. It'll make them better. Yep. It'll bump them up, right? And it'll make it more likely that maybe some of those losses aren't as objectionable. So winning this game versus losing this game, massive, can't be overstated. In terms of what I expect in ACC play, KenPom has it at a 14-6 prediction. I think that's pretty fair. No. I mean, 14-6, 15-5, somewhere in there. I mean, 14-6 or 15-5, and in fact, it actually just updated to 15-5. We're now up to 8 in KenPom, because they just included the Baylor game. So KenPom projects us to win the ACC at 15-5. 14-6 would probably tie for first, I would think.
I'm not saying they're not going to, but you think UNC is going to lose 6 games?
Yeah, I do.
I think they definitely could. I think six losses in conference play and tying for first in a bad conference like us is just not that's probably a 4 seed in the tournament.
UNC is 1-3 against Q1 opponents. I mean, their resume is very mid. It's aggressively 6-7 seed kind of deal. Honestly, maybe more 7-8 seed right now. Now they're beating Oklahoma by 10, so that might change. Yeah, I think they'll lose 6 games in the ACC on some bullshit in the same way that we will lose 5 or 6 games on some bullshit. UNC shouldn't lose more than 4 games. But that depends. Do you believe in Hubert's coaching?
Yeah.
I'm sure the people who don't like Duke would say, well, do you trust Shire's coaching in some of these games? There are coaches that are very established and have done well. Coaches like Tony Bennett, coaches like Jim Larinaga, that we'll have to face. Brad Brownell has done a very good job this year, obviously. Now luckily we only play Clemson once and it's at home. We only play Virginia once and it's at home.
Helps. Definitely helps.
Yeah, those are 2 of the 4 teams right there. That also makes those can't lose games, obviously. But I think that losing 5 is fair. I think I already targeted at the beginning of the year which ones I thought we would lose. We've already lost 1, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we lose 1 to Carolina. I think it's just a split kind of year, and then maybe we play them in the ACC tournament and beat them there.
Yeah.
I think losing to either Clemson or Virginia at home is probably like, again, if we're at 70 to 75% at beating each of them, odds of losing to one of them aren't bad.
Yeah.
And then you have to just consider like some bullshit games, right? Like we play between playing Clemson on a Saturday and UNC the next Saturday, we play at Virginia Tech. I don't know why that's celebrating that on my screen.
What did you just do?
Is it when I put one finger up, do I get balloons?
No.
I don't know what that was.
Funny.
Anyway, the point being, like, that's the kind of bullshit game. Obviously, we play State at State right before we play Carolina. That's another one that feels dangerous. And then certainly we have that stretch of 3 away games in a row where we've got FSU away, Miami away, Wake Forest away. I mean, odds are very strong we lose one of those games.
Yeah.
Right. So I think losing 5 to 6 feels right. I still think that's good enough to come in first or tie in first. That's my super long answer, Ryan.
What's your official prediction of a record and placement?
I think first.
Okay.
And then, losing 4 more games. I just detailed a lot of traps.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of them on the schedule. It's just this ACC is just so hard to predict with how down it is. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think you're hovering around that 15-5 range, maybe 14-6.
Yeah, I think losing 4 or 5 more games feels right. But if we finish 15-5, we finish 24-7 on the season. I'll look at Bart Torvik right now to see where that puts our resume, but like, it still might be a 3 seed. It still might be something very, like, if you win the ACC, only lose 7 total games, as long as one of the losses isn't to like Louisville or some horse shit or Notre Dame or whatever.
Yeah.
He has us projected at, winning 5 Q1 games, 4 Q2 games. Boy, he doesn't like one of the losses we've already taken. He might think Arkansas is going to slip further.
Then they definitely could. I think for me, the biggest, the early schedule that we have in the ACC is in my opinion, very light and easy. And so I'm hoping that what we can get out of that is what?
No, that means we're going to lose one of them is what it means. We always lose a terrible game in January. We always do.
You go on the road to Notre Dame, terrible team. You go on the road to Pittsburgh.
You cannot lose at Notre Dame. We could lose at Pitt, certainly. I don't think Pitt's good. Let's be clear.
Somebody says peace sign equals balloons. Do peace sign. It's on your iPhone. Are you on your iPhone?
Am I on my iPhone?
Do your peace sign. Man, there
that is it.
He was right. We'll give him props for it.
It's not on my iPhone, but it's on my computer.
Happened to someone on ESPN last week. That's hilarious. Anyways, so we start off with Syracuse at home. I think it's a W. I think Proctor's back by then. It might be an ugly W, like getting Proctor established in the lineup and on offense. And we go at Notre Dame, a game you just can't lose. They're a bad team, should win that game. At Pittsburgh is a little bit, you never know. But like, I still think it's
got one guy.
Yeah, exactly. A game that you win. Georgia Tech at home, W. Pittsburgh at home again, then W. At Louisville, W. Clemson at home. I'm calling it a W. Virginia Tech on the road, maybe your first L.
That's a huge
I hate playing there. I hate watching us play there.
If our first loss in January comes January 29th, I will be blown away. Like, that has nothing to do with Duke and has everything to do with just what always happens.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, you're right. Like, but when I look at it, the only 2 games that I could possibly see us, like, realistically, we could lose any game. But like, if you really think about it, the Pittsburgh on the road game and then Clemson at home are the 2 games that are like maybe iffy. Otherwise, that's it. Like,
yeah, but that's what you bake in, though, right? Like, it's hard. You can never call which games you're actually going to lose, but you can make a really good approximation, right? We've lost one. We will lose one Carolina game probably.
I think the Virginia Tech game is a big trap game because we will lose
one of those trap games, right? So that's 3.
Virginia
I think we
Tech's
will
on
lose.
The road. You got UNC after that, which is definitely looking ahead game. So I think the Virginia Tech is a trap game, and then you have the NC State game, the last game or the second to last game of the season before UNC, another trap game that I could see us losing. I'm going to go 15-5, winning the conference. I'm not afraid of Virginia. UNC, I think, will slip a little bit. There's sounds like a little turmoil in that locker room that Zion kind of hinted at on his Twitter feed.
they're playing very well tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I think 15-5, and who knows, maybe that UNC Duke game at the end of the season is going to be to decide the conference. You never know, which would be insane.
I don't think so. I think Clemson has 3 Q1 wins. Clemson has by far the best resume right now.
But that doesn't mean anything for ACC. I'm just talking like standings wise. Like you don't.
No,
think
sure, but this is one of the rare years where Clemson, actually like played teams out of conference and did really well.
Sure.
Right? Like they beat Alabama at Alabama. They beat TCU neutral court. They almost beat Memphis at Memphis, which is crazy. They beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh pretty soundly. Yeah, I mean, I think that Clemson is the real threat, assuming they all stay healthy. I think I also I know they just got the absolute brakes beat off them. I refuse to count out Virginia. like Virginia is just such a pest, and every year I think I've said it on here. 8 out of the 10 last years they finished top 2 in the conference. I mean, you know, Race has no shot. Did we get a 1 seed? Sure, there's a shot if we win out.
Yeah, I think we can win the ACC tournament. I think if you take a loss, I think if you take an L in January and then win out 2, I think there's a chance. But I think otherwise, it's 1 loss might even be pushing it at this point.
I think if we lose, so if we lost 3 more games, we'd only have 6 losses. That might be enough.
Could be.
If we lost only 2 games, because if we finish with 5 losses only, that means we probably have like 8 Q1 wins. I mean, like we've got a really good resume at that point. Plus it's Duke. Like we just kind of have to acknowledge that like we get a little bit of a like because we're Duke, you know? So I think it's feasible. There he is.
Real quick, Z, but let me finish this real quick.
The most flattering camera angle I've ever seen in my life.
You're muted.
He's also muted. Bro, my guy.
Awesome.
Dude, leave the frozen screen like this.
I'm gonna do him a favor. I'll do him a favor.
Oh no! I want to.
Hold on.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, there we go. All right, hold on, real quick though. The number 1 seed thing. The only thing I'm worried about, you got to go Purdue, Kansas, Arizona, UConn are all teams that'll be vying for it. So that's another roadblock.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's
G,
true.
what's going on, man? How's what's New York doing for you?
Do y'all hear me?
Yeah,
I'm clear.
Am I here? I don't see myself on the screen.
You're there, and you have a hilariously low camera angle. It's great.
Nah, I'm just in the train station. What y'all talking about? Yo, I just saw Stanley Borden. I just walked by him. I don't know why he's leaving with his family, but maybe they
is he playing saxophone in the subway station?
I don't know. Nah, I just see him outside the subway station, but it was kind of weird.
All right, Zay, let's get your thoughts, man. That's what you're here for. Let's hear your thoughts and
what have y'all talked about?
Tonight?
Oh, MSD was rocking though. MSD was rocking. Cameron Northford never fails. Although Baylor brought a crowd today, I was surprised. They competed. But yeah, you know, I kind of was saying, we kind of said it last time, or we maybe after last game we kind of talked about it. But Baylor's offense stinks. Like that's not a good offense. So much of the game, I was kind of disappointed in the fact that we were getting beat on the glass. I'm sure y'all talked about Flip, but tonight was a little bit of a wake-up call for him because he's starting to get the Armando Baycott label, where he goes up against bigs that are supremely athletic, more physical, and he's getting a little bullied. So, you know, I think in the second half he came, at least when he had mismatches on him, he did a good job of attacking. But, you know, otherwise, you know, like I said on Twitter, this is Jeremy Rose's team. Let's get an apology from Russ and Ryan, both Jeremy Roach's biggest haters.
Oh, give me a break.
Not only did I apologize on here, I tweeted it out that I apologize and tagged him in it because you know he doesn't have me blocked, so he can see my.
Whoa, there we go.
Yeah, I knew you're gonna mention it at some point. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense from my end just because I've been praising Jeremy Roach. I've also, never tweeted at him. So I think Russ found a tweet maybe that he did block me. It was about the backcourt tweet.
that might have been it. That might have been
That's the only negative tweet I've ever tweeted that couldn't possibly include him. It's probably the backcourt tweet. When Tyrese Proctor said they have the best backcourt in the country, and I brought it back on the timeline and said, "This is not true. They're not top 15 right now." But Jeremy's been hoping, man. I respect it. What he's done. He's got a lot of slack over the years, but he's really developing into the leader that we all need. And yeah, I think this is his team. It's not Flip's team. It's not Tyrese's team. This is Jeremy Roach's team.
He's not going to unblock you, dude. He's not going to unblock you.
No, I don't see. That's the thing. That's the difference between me and everybody else on Twitter. I'm gonna keep it 100 regardless. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't care who follows me, who doesn't. People naturally engage with me. There are gonna be people who disagree with what I say. It doesn't matter. It's an opinion at the end of the day. So, hey, man, he's gonna block me at some point. I already know it, but kudos to him if it helped him play better.
All right, Zach, we're doing apologies then. What about you with Ryan Young? Let's hear your Ryan Young take after tonight.
I don't need no apologies for Ryan Young. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If anybody has followed me, if anybody has followed this show, Ryan Young, I've always said, I will give him praise when he plays well. I will critique him when he plays bad. I gave him praise tonight. Give him plenty of praise tonight. You guys be killing him more than me.
God, here we go.
You guys will publicly kill him more than me. Me, any of my criticism that is unfiltered, that is for y'all and the people close to me. in terms of this show, I have never been disrespectful to Ryan Young.
Oh my God!
I've given.
Yo, Zion, do you see the comment?
There's no proof. I don't see any comments. I'm on my phone, so
it says, "Is Zion growing a beard, or does his jacket have a fuzzy collar?"
I've been having a beard, bro. Come on, bro. Don't play with me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Ryan Young. I've been gave Ryan Young his flowers when he plays well, so I don't need any apology. I think I apologized after the second game, so I'm cleared from that. I also need an apology from Russ, because I remember vividly, and everybody in the comment section, because y'all were hot on me when I said
I tweeted my apology.
I didn't see the tweet, so I need to hear it.
Oh, give me a break. That's your problem.
Nah, man. Baylor, I told y'all we were going to beat Baylor.
You put Zion in Madison Square Garden for 2 minutes, and all of a sudden he's talking so wild, man. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Man. This is my city, man. Yo, shout out to the people. There were jelly people today. I'm not capping. Oh, I'm not capping the level. What am I capping about?
Comments are calling you out, Zion.
That's cap. Whatever you're saying is cap, because I'm gonna keep it 100. But shout out to the person today, and there was a kid too. I'm sorry, I had my earphones in. That just walked up to me, and they're like, "Oh, yo, you're Zion. Oh, love what you do." I appreciate those people the most because it makes me feel like a celebrity.
Oh my God!
Ryan, see, I was about to say, I was just about to say, Ryan be hating on me, so it makes me feel warm inside when those happen. But shout out to those people. Can y'all put the comments up, Ryan? Can you put the comments up because I can't see them. Like, do a better job of producing.
They're up.
The only one. The capping one is the last one.
Yo, I got one. Yeah, there's one that says Zion's nose is growing tonight.
Oh my goodness.
He's on some Pinocchio shit, bro. He's on his Pinocchio shit.
The only cap I had tonight on this show was Ryan Young. That I've never criticized Ryan Young. That's the only cap. Everyone has criticized Ryan Young, but
now
I
that's
give
the
him his
second
credit.
cap because you said it's the only one.
What's the only cap? What's the other one?
I don't know, something. You're just talking reckless, man. Come on. Yeah, now Jalen is right. Jalen is right. I apologized on Twitter, man. I was very concerned about what would happen to Duke without Proctor. And
he did say that.
I did. I was upset, man. I was upset. It was after a bad loss. I was upset. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Nah, man. I just didn't see it. I didn't see us losing this game too. We've lost too many of these big games at this point. We had to get one.
I couldn't have
And
done the show if we had took this L tonight, man. I couldn't have gone on here. I couldn't have.
Oh man, no. To be honest, in the middle of the game, I was thinking, yo, dang, the show might be popular tonight if we lose. I was thinking the show might do historic numbers if we lose again because we would have 0 quality wins. 0 quality wins.
Yeah, the
What
comments
is
say
this
you're
guy
getting too
saying?
big. You're getting too big for Duke Twitter, Zion. That's what it says here.
Never be too big for Duke Twitter, man. Duke Twitter my home, regardless of everything.
You're so humble, Zion. You're so humble, man.
Regardless of how much Ryan can hate on me and how much Russ, can instigate Ryan's hate, Duke Twitter is gonna be my home.
I do.
Man.
Now I do like instigating. That's true.
You are a prime instigator.
I
You are
got the
LeBron
spoon.
James.
I'm the spoon, baby. I'm the
I'm
spoon.
gonna hop on here after the. I'm gonna hop on here after the Syracuse game. And be like, man, I was walking around Cameron Indoor Stadium, and the amount of people that came up to me was like, "Yo, you're Ryan. Man, I love your content, man. I love everything you do." I'm gonna come on here.
That's not even fair though. That's not even fair though because Cameron is like home to all these people that are on Twitter. Like this is MSG.
No way.
Not everybody is on Twitter yet. I did get a lot of those at the Barclays ACC tournament 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. But MSG is hard. That's a difficulty. Cameron's easy. Everybody knows you, Cameron, because if you at Cameron, you're a Duke fan for real.
The odds are better. Sure. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, that'll be fun. What was your thoughts on the late game situations there with Young though? You didn't. I was giving you crap for the Young hate, but what were your thoughts on how that game ended?
I mean, I think I was not mad at the Ryan Young minutes. I would say because number one, I've fully given up on any Sean Stewart notion that he might ever enter the game again. That's dead. I'm not going to bring it up ever again. I'm sorry. You can just tell when it's dead. It's dead at this point.
No, that's kind of how I feel, honestly. My comments were my mentions were filled with it, and I was just like, call for it all you want, dude, but like it's not happening right now. Clearly,
it's not happening. It's done because we're approaching January at this point, and rotations will be solidified very soon. And apparently, I guess it has to be something in practice. And I've heard whispers of it possibly being, oh, he doesn't remember the plays and whatnot, but it's not going to happen this year. You just got to pray. You just got to pray that he doesn't leave. But going back to Ryan Young, I wasn't mad at his minutes. I love the decisions he made on the pick and roll. He did what we needed him to do because Flip was in foul trouble, a little shaky with those fouls. But, I have nothing, no negatives for Ryan Young tonight. No negatives. I mean,
we talked about, before you got on here, Zion, we talked about what I've now dubbed the Young yin and yang, right? Where in the first 4 minutes that Ryan Young played, he put up a -8. Those first two stretches that he was in, he came in, Baylor immediately went on a run, right? Like both times, it immediately happened. And then at the end of the game, he came in and he was doing all the things that clearly are the reasons why John Shire wants to put him in there, right? He was boxing out well. He was making smart plays on offense, and it might just be one of those things that we're just going to have to tolerate the rest of the season. Sometimes when Ryan Young's in there, you're going to be like, oh my God, what is he doing in there? What are we doing? And then other times the hustle and the grit and the intelligence and the strength are just going to bear themselves out. And it's just a coin flip as to when he enters the game, which one you're going to get at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I was typically definitely surprised. I mean, the first half, I think he had his struggles. I'm pretty sure you already talked about it. But, Baylor's a physical team, and obviously Missy, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. It looks like Missy. I'm going to say Missy. He's a physical big. So, the fact he was competing at points was impressive to me. I will say, though, the biggest play to me that whole game was they were about to get an offensive rebound. I think it was Missy. And Jeremy Roach created basically a turnover by causing the tie-up on the rebound.
That was the
a
rebound
turn-
I was
that was a
talking
turn-
about, Ryan. That was the rebound I was
Yeah.
talking about earlier.
That was the turning point of the game, and that just like, yo, Jeremy Rose got heart, man. Respect to him because
Yeah.
you know this team has lacked a lot of heart, a lot of passion. I think all season, and that play I think kind of changed things, turned things around. Maybe could be a turning point for the season, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was going to tweet. I didn't end up tweeting it because it sounded like negative even, and we were winning. And so I didn't really want to do it. But Jeremy Roach is definitely the only guy this season, or rather, I don't want to say the only guy. Again, I'm framing it negatively. I'll say it. He's the only guy that has played with like energy, like consistently every play. He's always playing the way that he plays. Like you don't see him like take plays off. You don't see him like pouting, right? You don't see him avoiding the physicality. If even when he's not playing well, or even when on defense he's kind of getting beat, it's rarely. I won't even say rarely. It's never effort. He's always giving effort every single time. He's always setting the tone every time. Whether everybody follows depends on the game, I suppose. But yeah, he's just obscenely valuable in that respect. And I mean, that's having a senior in a roster that's nothing but freshmen and sophomores, right? I mean, like that leadership has been colossal so far this season.
Yeah. I saw some takes on Twitter saying, or just a question saying, how do you fit Tyrese back into this team? I don't know what y'all watch, but to me, I still watch the bad offense today. we had our bright spots for sure, and I think we had our stretches in the beginning of the game where we looked like a functioning offense. But there was still a lot. The offense still is ways to go. So I don't think putting Tyrese back into the fold is like a matter of us snapping what we've built. I don't think we've built much during the stretch. I think maybe last game we showed some signs, but it's not like I think we're putting him in and everything's collapsed. No, we still have a long way to go offensively.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little while you were gone. Basically the idea of what do we do when Proctor gets back, like with the lineup? Do you put Foster back on the bench even though he's been playing well? Do you bench Mitchell and play 4 guards and see how that works? John seemed reluctant to do that so far this season, but is it an option because McCain and Foster are both kind of balling right now? I mean, what would you think we would do going forward once Proctor returns?
Yeah, the only reason I can't see 4 guards at this point is because Flip has kind of struggled protecting the rim. I think he's had his moments defensively, but I believe that he can anchor a paint with 4 guards around him. So that would be my biggest concern, as well as rebounding would be my biggest concern with a smaller lineup. But offensively, I'd love it. I'd love to see it. But it also takes away from our depth if we're starting 4 guards, I think, too, because then your main lineup is going to have 4 guards most of the game, with nobody really coming off the bench to spell them. I guess you could stagger their minutes, but I'd still probably prefer Mark Mitchell. I still believe in Mark Mitchell, man. I do. I still believe in him because I saw him for a whole season, and I think he has more improvement. Obviously this seat that he can. I'm hoping he just reverts to, I guess, the norm. I don't even need to see him improve off the player. If we get the Mark Mitchell from last year, that still works for us. But
I feel like you were a long way from that though right now. But I agree with you. I still have faith.
Yeah, Russ, I don't think you have faith in Mark Mitchell from your looks.
No, I don't think his shooting is likely to change much this year. I have faith that he can find his role, and he, like, when he's playing with energy and when he's like playing physically down there, I mean, he's such a net value add for us because we don't have anybody else that size who can play that way. Like, it's kind of the same thing like with Flip. Like, no matter how we feel about, Flip's body language or like individual stretches of Flip's play, the team falls off a cliff when Flip is not in the game, like the offense and defense both. And so the same thing goes for Mark to some let me rephrase. I would expect that to be the case with Mark. It has not really been the case with Mark this year. We've done all right when Mark's not in the game. We're better with him on the court, but I just don't know what I would do. I would like to try some other looks. I just want the team to be a little more creative with some of the looks that they're going to throw. I mean, again, I sort of said on Twitter when Ryan Young wasn't playing well, I don't know why we wouldn't even consider the option of like doing some Mitchell at the 5 looks, like just to see what it looks like, just to try, like give it a few minutes and see. Or again, I'm not going to say anything about Sean Stewart, but like throwing like just a couple plays here and there just to see how options look. You've talked about this before, Zion. Like, it doesn't hurt. Like, it really doesn't hurt that much. And especially when I was tweeting this at that point, Ryan Young had played 4 minutes and he was a -8. I mean, like, you can't do much worse than those 4 minutes. And then he obviously had a tremendous last 4 minutes. But, like, I would just like to see some creativity. And that goes back to your offense point. I think a lot of how we won the game was Jeremy Roach just creating, Caleb Foster creating. We did in the first 12 minutes see some offense, some real offense. It was great. And I think it just kind of ran out of steam, especially when we had to bench Flip with the fouls. Whenever Ryan Young's in the game, and this is true at the end of the game too, the offense is basically give the ball to Roach, do something. Give the ball to Foster, do something. Everyone stand around and see what they do. Young set a screen, and then nobody guards the screen, and then we see what happens. So, I just want some creativity either direction. Mitchell in the pick and roll with Roach. They were doing with the short roll in the Charlotte game and the Hofstra game. He was in the short roll, and Flip was in the corner where Mitchell had been standing all season, and no one was guarding him. And then when Flip was on the perimeter, people were actually guarding him. Baylor didn't guard him at all today out there, but he's a better option on the perimeter as that spacer than Mark is.
Oh, wait, so with your marker at the 5 lineup, who are you putting at the 4? PJ? Because you can't leaving out Sean Stewart because that's not happening.
I agree. I think that you are playing. I think you're playing smaller. I think if you've got Mark at the 5, you're trying to run. You're not trying to play half court. You're just trying to like do as much transition, pressure, chaos as possible. You could definitely go 4 guards. You could even have Jalen Blakes be one of those guards. He has been playing well. TJ has acquitted himself decently in some of those pressure lineups. You just cannot put him in a situation where he has to guard in the half court. Like, TJ can't do that right now. So, but like trying any of them is the real answer. Like, just see what happens. Like, try something new. The minutes when Flip is not on the court all season have been bad. Like, basically across the board, with a couple of tiny exceptions here and there. Today being one of those exceptions for those last couple of minutes. So we just have to come up with solutions to that. Like, and I don't know what they are at present, but I would love to see something spicy. Yeah.
Yeah, something to change up a little bit. Zion, somebody asked if you had any insight, or any of us had any insight as to why Stewart's not playing, if there's anything behind the scenes. I think the answer is no. It's just he's not being played.
Yeah. I mean, the whispers I've heard is plays, like not knowing plays. But, I mean, I feel like that's probably a reason to keep him off the floor if you're a coach. I mean, but at the same time, I just feel like he just brings a dynamic we don't have. And he's just such a freak athlete. Like, I don't see what's wrong with playing in 5 or 7 minutes. But I don't even want to talk about that because, I already said that's dead. It's dead. He's not going to play.
Yeah.
He's not going to play. It's done.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
We just beat his dead horse at this point. All right. We've been going for a little over an hour. Any last thoughts to wrap it up?
What's our next game?
The 30th, I believe.
10 days.
Hey. Last game of 2023. And who's our first ACC game post?
But Cameron Ryan will be there.
Oh yeah. Big Ryan. Don't give us bad luck, bro. If we lose that game, You'll never be able to be allowed in Campbell
noted,
again,
for
brother.
sure.
Sorry.
I wanna just give a quick shout out to Jalen Blakes. He's given us such good minutes. And I also just love watching him play. I love that prototype, the Jordan Goldwire-y prototype, like those sorts of dudes that are at like 110% every single moment that they're on the court. And sometimes it means it's a little chaotic and out of control and wild, but like he also like gets in those guys' heads, man. Like there was that one possession where like they were just throwing the ball in and Jalen Blake's like tapped it out of bounds so they couldn't throw it in. And then Jalen Blake's like turns to the crowd and starts like applauding and like doing this, like after just tapping it out. I was like, God damn, Jalen Blake's is here, man. Like I thought Jalen Blake's was gonna start screaming like this is my city, like after like deflections and shit.
That would be crazy. I would jump down from the stands and
loved it.
Tackle him myself.
He's the only other guy who never has taken a single playoff so far this season, for better and for worse. But I love what he brings, and in December he's been so good.
I do got a question for y'all before we go. An honest question. Be very honest. Very honest. Don't pull no punches. Are you enjoying watching this team right now?
No,
I did today.
Today was much better. There was still some frustrating like head scratching times where like the offense is still stagnant, running and standing around and stuff. But like up until tonight, like the team just didn't look very competent. Like they even wanted to be there. So as a fan, it's not super fun to watch. But I'm hoping we get this team going forward because they've shown themselves they play like this. They have a chance to do good things. So
Zion muted. I can't hear Ryan right now. There we go. Ryan, re-say what you were saying.
I was just saying, basically, the team still was stagnant in parts of this game as far as the offensive side goes. At times, the body language wasn't great, and they didn't look like they were having fun, kind of like they were in previous games. But there was also some times tonight where they looked the opposite. McCain and stuff was getting emotional. Roach was playing really well and getting emotional. So as far as like watching them goes, tonight was way more fun than I've had. Maybe that Arizona game was probably the last time I remember like watching a game like, wow, these guys are like this is fun to watch. It was a good game. And so up until tonight, probably not. But now going forward, I have hope to be excited and have fun watching them play.
I've enjoyed the last 3 games. I enjoyed I tell you what, I've enjoyed it a lot more than like that LaSalle and Southern Indiana run. I mean, like we knew with the Arizona game that we could play with the best. We could have won that game. We were right in the thick of it. So I still think even with, my squabbles about would I prefer more off-ball movement, would I prefer some, maybe more creative looks, the talent's there, again, in texting with Jim earlier today, and I was worried about with Proctor not playing. He was like, how many 5-star talents does John Shire need to win a game like this? And I was like, I mean, it's a fair question. I do think sometimes it's just out talenting the other team. Yeah. But that could also work pretty well. At the end of the day, we could out talent teams and just get away with it for a lot of these games. Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see him turn the corner. And again, I know that Flip, the one last thing I'll say is Flip's body language thing. My mentions were brutal against Flip, all game long. Like, you know what Flip did today? He did 13 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, in an 8-point win, against a team that's top 16 net. His plus minus is, 6. Again, it's not like the most brilliant game that he's played or whatever, but like the team is so much better when he's on. And even when he's in like, I'm not happy Flip mode, like he's like, we're still better with him. Like, if he can be pouty all game, if you in terms of his body language, as long as when he's playing the game, he's putting up double doubles, he's impacting the game on both ends. His assist numbers are way up. His steals, the steal rate when Flip's on the floor is way, way higher than when he's not on the floor. I mean, like he uses his body really well. He's not a great like pure rim protector, but like teams can't score in the, I think the stat I saw was like what teams at the rim finish above average against Duke, but teams like trying to shoot in the paint shoot way, way, way below average against Duke. And I feel like that kind of tracks with how Flip defends, right? He's not a guy who's going to meet you at the top necessarily, but he is a guy who knows how to use just his sheer size to intimidate. And I think that that's really valuable too. So like, I think I had 40 fucking comments today during the game about, oh, Flip's sorry. We're never going to do anything. Flip's sorry. Flip's going to be a first team All-American this year. Like he is. I genuinely believe it. So people need to get off that nonsense, in my opinion.
Yeah. Zion, how about you? Finish it off.
I was Flip. I have noticed that there is a body language thing. I thought initially people were overanalyzing it, but just watching the game today, I was watching it a lot. It is like not a concern, but it's like like it makes you think. But yeah, I wouldn't play into it. Maybe like people are just like players are different. You know, you just gotta hope it doesn't affect the team or affect his play or let it get to his head. You know, people can be passionate with it not affecting their play. But as for the question I asked, I think I'm not. The only reason I asked that because even with the teams we watched in the past, like we look at the Palo team, I still find that team entertaining even the games we lost. Like I would still, we'd lose a game and I'd still be hyped up for the next game. I'm still hyped up obviously because it's Duke, but my entertainment from the team has been severely low at this point. So that was just why I asked it. I hope it gets better, but I don't think we just play clean basketball, Duke brand of basketball. And we don't have obviously that top 5 talent that just takes over a game. So, maybe we'll get there at the end of the season. But
I wonder in that respect, Zion, like how the degree to which we don't have like NBA stars on this team impacting that, because we're not getting a lot of home run plays or like super wild plays on this team.
Not a lot of highlight reel plays with this team.
Yeah, whereas like that Paolo team, I mean, there were 4 NBA rotation players on that team. And another
even
one
with Lively, like you could make big time highlight reel plays with the lobs and the athleticism there, and this team just doesn't really have that, and so you're not going to get that pop that you're looking for that gets you to jump off the couch.
Yeah, I think this is the first team in a while that like certainly I think there's only 2 guys on here that are likely to be first rounders this year, certainly. I mean, maybe in the future somebody like Foster will climb up there, or if McCain just like shoots 50% from 3, maybe like someone would take the flyer on him late first. But like, yeah, I kind of chalk some of that up to that. And that I think that goes back to the offensive concerns too. We've talked about before the team's propensity to just like give the ball to the talented guy and say, go. If we don't have the guy who is like an otherworldly all-star level talent, then you can't run that all the time. You have to have plays. You have to have off-ball movement. You have to have the other stuff. So like that Paolo team definitely ran a lot of this same offense, like to be clear.
That's true.
It definitely did. It was just pretty sweet watching, those guys get to do, just lob up a bailout to Mark Williams, maybe, who knows? Or Paolo can do whatever, or kick it out to AJ and he's going to hit 50% from 3. And, like that shit was fun. It was fun. I agree that was more fun, but I did like most of the game today. I thought today showed a lot of promise.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Been well over an hour. Zion, hope you enjoyed the game. Thanks for joining us. Everybody out there, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review for our podcast, folks. That's been going off lately, so we appreciate that. And yeah, code crazy CRAZIE for home field and
learn how to spell, Ryan. This is a Duke podcast. Come on.
Think about it for a second, man. I am tired over here, so I had just trying to think about how you spell crazy. Anyways, appreciate everybody. Have a great night. We'll be back in ACC play. Enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Thumbs up this YouTube, baby. Thumbs up it.
Sweet. Appreciate y'all.